everybody and welcome. We're still making ephemera from our Edith book and there's still plenty to go at, I can tell you. But this morning I thought I'd make a masterboard up with some of the remnants that I had. I didn't want them getting out of control remnants. Nobody needs that. So I just made this masterboard up. I don't think it's completely dry. After I'd finished, I gave it a coat of matte medium, just to make sure it was all stuck down, and it just feels nice when it's had matte medium on it. It's lovely. So I'll leave that today. That's probably tomorrow's chore. And look at my basket. Apart from that, it's empty. My basket is empty. That's because yesterday I sold all the items that we'd already made. So we've got to start on a new box now. Right, in this signature, there are some beautiful images. This one, for example, gorgeous. And there's also, I think in this one, let me have a look and see. You'd think I'd know these off by heart by now, wouldn't you? No, maybe not. Yes, the iris. Now, these are two absolutely stunning images, stunning pages, but they're almost too much. They're too tall, too wide. You know, they need something done to them. So what I've decided to do is this. I've sort out of the next signature in the book, I've been in there nicking bits because I want this page of text. And we'll see what I'm going to do, see if you like it, see if you don't. And this image of the foxgloves I want as well. Right, there we go. So I have the text and the foxgloves. So what I'm going to do is make, well, a collage really. I'm going to cut these down. And there's a jolly green giant. Cut them down to 6 inches wide. Let's cut the fluffy bit off first, see where we are. That bit. Cut it to 6 inches. And it's worth being fairly accurate about this. There's another remnant. Add to my new start. And I want this to measure 8 inches. So that's about there, I'd say. Let's cut that off there. A bit further down, perhaps there. And 8 inches, so let's just do our best. There we go. So that now measures 6 by 8. And I'm going to do the same with the foxglove. Yikes. Let's cut the fluffy bit off. Just want to cut up to where the flower starts really, so about there. So I want it 6 inches, so I'm putting that there. Yeah, that's good. That's good, I think. Still got most of it left. Keep that. So now I want this to be 8 inches. So let's cut that top bit off first and then see what we've got left. I'm just going to leave the flowers just right at the top and see where that brings us to. Yeah, I think that's fine. I like having the top part of the flowers. So, right, lovely. So that's now 6 by 8 as well. So we've got two pieces that are 6 by 8. And what I'm going to do now, oh, they're beautiful, aren't they? I love the text every bit as much as I love that, to be honest. I'm going to slice and dice. Nice image on the back of there. All of Edith is lovely, isn't she? Right, so I want to cut these at into 2-inch strips. And like I say, try and be quite accurate with your measurements. And then I want to cut them into 2-inch squares. Can you see what's coming here, guys? So that was 6, so I need this on 4. Oh no, it was 8, silly woman. So 2 inches. Take your time. It's worth taking a little bit of time. So I'm hoping that all's well in your world today. Mr. F is really so much better. I don't know if he's kidding me actually that he's better, but I was making the fire this morning, which for me is no mean feat. And he said, oh, sit down, I'll do that. And I said, no, you won't. You definitely won't. Because you've got to chop steaks, you've got to carry coal in, you know, fill a coal bucket up, carry it in from outside, and that's heavy. So, oh yeah, and you've got to empty the ashes out from yesterday, carry that outside. It's a whole thing, lighting a fire. You know, when you say to people you've got a real fire, it's, oh, how lovely. Well, yeah, it's lovely when it's going. I do love it. But it's a bit of a scunner, as we'd say here, to look after it. But I got the paper and I rolled it all up, and I went out and got some sticks and I chopped them. And I made sure I didn't chop my thumb, my poor thumb. I think I'm going to be lucky with that. I think I'm not going to lose my nail, which is good news. So yeah, I crinkled the paper, I didn't wrap anything up. I chopped the sticks and I emptied the dustpan, and then Mr. F did all the cleaning the glass on the doors of the fire and all that sort of business. So between us anyway, we've got the fire going. That's the long and the short of it. That's all you really needed to know, isn't it? But you know, he did actually get down. He knelt down in front of the fire and he got up again. So that is, I mean, that's a huge step forward. Because that day when he collapsed in the bathroom, oh my goodness. It was awful. It's funny when you see somebody who's always so strong, you know, he's always the one that, I don't mean physically carries everything, he just carries us, you know. And there he was, just, oh, it was a shocker. Right, so what I need now, and I'm pretty sure I got it out before. Yes, it's just thick paper, I'd say. It's about 160, something like that. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make a collage here. But I am going to make my foxglove up again. Otherwise I won't have a clue where anything goes. I could have been a bit tidier about doing this, I think. That's perhaps the top up there, I think. Oh dear, I don't know where these bits go. Oh yeah, we're getting there, Yeah, lovely. Does that go there? No, I don't think so. Goes there. Need Bernice here. Bernice is a jigsaw lady. She'd have had this done in a flash. And that there. Where do these go? Good question. Yeah, that goes there as a piece of grass. That might go there, I think. I'm guessing that goes there somehow. Yeah, like that. And then this piece just at the top. It's hardly got anything on it. Right, excellent. And these, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to read the story anyway, so you can put them on any which way you like. So I'm going to put a piece of this on first, and I'm going to make all my words go that way. You can make them go any which way, doesn't really matter. I'm going to sew these afterwards, so I'm not too concerned about how well stuck down they are. If you're not going to sew them afterwards, then I recommend you stick them down quite well. But try and pay good attention to getting them straight, that's the thing. So I'm going to take this middle one here and put it here. So now you can see what I'm up to. I'm making one beautiful image. Going two. Double duty. Another text page. You just got to be quite careful. Right, so the next one down, I'm going to take this one. Now, I happen to really like collages. If you don't, if they're not your thing, then I can see that you wouldn't really be too enamoured with this page. You'd be thinking, what is she wasting that beautiful image for? I just like it, and to me, look at that on the back, oh my goodness. To me, it's like getting two lots, you know, I'm getting 2 pages, 2 journaling cards, whatever, out of one beautiful image. So you must decide for yourself. Like I say, if you're not going to be stitching, make sure that you really do glue it down quite well. Now I'm just taking my bone folder just to make sure that they're flat, etc. Text is next. If you don't want to stitch, I think I have mentioned this before, but if you don't want to stitch, consider doing faux stitching with a fine liner. What do I need now? Is it that one? What am I doing here? No, that's this one. Oh, you see, you've got to think about it. Well, I have to think about it because I'm talking as well. And I know I do a lot of talking, but I still sometimes have to think. There we go. Doesn't take awfully long. And if there's a little gap, you know, if you've had to straighten it up and there's a tiny little gap, don't worry about that. It'll all come clean in the wash. Then this one. Lovely piece of text. Lovely, lovely. And our last piece of pattern. There we go. So you can see that we've got enough left for another one. So you've got 2 and it looks gorgeous, I think. So what I want to do now is put these away, and I can do that later because you don't need to see that again, I don't think. Cut that out. Like I say, I've done it just on thin card, thick paper. Thick paper, probably nearer the mark. But we have a problem really, because This is too big for most people's journals. In the UK, ours is our A4 is 11 3/4. So, you know, it's not big enough to accept a 6-inch card like this. And in the States, yours is even less. I think it's 11. So, you know, we're going to have to chop some of this off. But don't worry about that yet. The next thing that we need to do is put on some matte medium, just to make sure everything's stuck nicely. So I've got a brush here in a wet wipe that I was using earlier. It's fancy, isn't it? Look at that. It's Jane Davenport one, I think. I didn't buy it. Well, I mean, bought it, but it came with a job lot of other stuff that Mr. F bought. I would never have gone out and bought a paintbrush that looked like a mermaid's tail. But having said that, it works very nicely. So there we are, we've got our matte medium on there. And I'm just going to wrap my brush up again because I don't want it to dry out. I don't want to ruin it. So leave that there. Put the lid on the matte medium. No room at the end down there. And we just need to leave that to dry. But in true Blue Peter style, I have this one. I know it's the iris. Even I can see it's the iris. But it's had its matte medium on and it's all dry, it's ready to go. So we can, where am I going to put this then? That's a good point. I'll put it in the empty basket. Right, so I'll just cut this one out and then we'll get to sewing. Actually, I'm going to pause here and I'm going to see if I can find my faux sewing stitch stamp. And if I can, we'll do that with this one and see what it looks like, just for those of you that don't stitch. So bear with me a sec, I'll be right back. Right, so I've found them. I'm pretty sure these ones are Timmy, but I actually can't be sure because I've taken them off the thing and put them in a bag. The only other people that I think make these is Studio Light, so it's one of the two. So let's have a look what these are, see if we fancy using them. Let's pop you to one side. So you can see, I mean that one, that's fabulous, I love that one. Nice zigzaggy one. These are lovely. Kind of messy stitching, aren't they? There's a lot of that though that isn't messy. You could get away with that if you didn't fancy messy stitching. Let's give it a go. I'm going to use my VersaFine clay and Fallen Leaves. It's a very dark brown, and the stitching that I'm doing on this project is dark brown as well, so I think we'll be all right with that. Which shall I go for first? That one. I think I'll go for that one. See if I can get it something like straight. Keeping stamps in a plastic bag's not a good way forward. Not really? Okay, that's not too bad. I mean, this might completely ruin this. And if it does, I'll cry. But it's just to see you guys that don't stitch if there is another alternative. So I kind of want it. I might put that messy bit in the middle actually. And I want it about there. Yikes, that's it. I'm pressing down. Oh yeah, no, that's all right. Looks like it's been stitched. Wow. So I'm going to do this end of it again and put it across there. I'm just going to run that stitching, as it were, off the Let's get a bit of blue roll before I get ink all over my desk. Then it gets onto the back of the card. You know the story. Let's just ink that again in case. I doubt it's dried, but you never can tell. So just coming off there and along the middle there. Well, I think that looks great. What do you think, guys? I'll hold it up and then you might have a chance of seeing it. Looks fine, doesn't it? Really does. I'm going to carry on with this one because it's not so messy as some of them are a bit messier. So let's put that along that one there. Way, nearly dropped it. This bit here. Yeah, need something across the middle as well. Shall I use the same one? Or yeah, I think I will use the same one. Because if I was stitching, I'd use the same stitch. So I'm just going to bring that messy bit along to the end of there. Yep. Well, guys, I think this is a reasonable alternative. Actually, so that's all those ones done. So let's do this. It's a bit nerve-wracking. I'd be telling a lie if I said I wasn't nervous about this, because I really don't want to wreck it all up. But so far so good. The dark brown is a very dark brown. But that's all right. There we go. So just down here. Actually, it looks really nice. I do really like it. So I'm going to get fancy with myself now, and I'm going to put the woggly stitching in the middle, like there. Woggly stitching. I don't know what I mean by that. The untidy ends. Yeah, that looks nice there, doesn't it? So just another tiny bit at the top there. Right, there we are. Look at that. That is a good alternative to stitching, I'd say. I really would. But our problem isn't over yet, because what I want to think about now is that this is not, it's too big. It's too big as it is. So I'm going to have to cut it down. And I want to cut it down to about, I'm not so worried about the 8, that's okay. Does that measure 8? Yeah, marginally over. I just want it to be narrower, because that's just not going to fit in your journal. So let's trim off 1/2 inch on each side, and then it will fit into anybody's journal. It would be USA or UK. So I'm going to cut that 1/4 inch off there, and that'll make it what, 5.5. No, that's, I need to take 1 inch off, I think. So I'm going to take 1/2 inch off each side. 1/2 inch off there, 1/2 inch off here, and it should end up measuring 5 inches. There we go. And I just want to take a whisker off the height. So I'm just going to take I don't even know what that is. Somewhere between 1/4 and 1/8. And the same on the top, just to square it up. There we go. So there we have it. There's our kind of rough state journaling card. Doesn't it look gorgeous? I love it. I really do. I like that stitching. I like it a lot. So what I need now is, and I haven't got one, I want some cream card. I was absolutely certain I started a piece of cream card this morning. Oh yeah, I did. I did this on it. That's why it's not around. So forgive me a minute and I'll... Okay, there we are. I've got my cream card. And I just want to stick this down, really. That's all I want to do. So let's get that done. Yeah, the other way that I was telling you about doing stitching, if you haven't got a machine or you don't want to use your sewing machine, I can understand. It's something else to have on your desk. Or you don't put it on your desk, you put it on another table, and then you're hopping up and down all day. Like a linty, we would say around here. I don't even know what that means. Hopping around like a linty. It's just what we say up here. I don't know why. So let's get that in the corner. Like that, along the bottom. Beautiful. There we go. I've got a bit of CP glue around. Whoop. Now I'm moving it all around the place. There we go. Just leave it till it, give it a minute to dry. I'll just wipe my media board. It was so nice and clean, honestly. I am a mucky pup. I've had some gorgeous comments of late on YouTube. Thank you so much, guys. Those of you that... Well, thank you, all of you, for watching. Those that have subscribed, thank you enormously. And those of you that have left me such lovely comments, I so appreciate them. I really, really do. It makes my day when I read them. I go all big-headed, then it makes my day. So let's trim this out of here. It's had a minute or two to come to its senses. I don't know what I'm going to do around the outside. You know, in the world of faux stitching, etc. I'll have another look and see what my stamps say. Doing this a bit cockeyed, actually. In the air, out shot. There we go, right. So there's our card. Nicely cut out, nicely backed. Haven't inked around it. Let's do that. Well, before I do that, I want to work out whether I want to round the corners, which I think I probably do. Let's have a look at these, what I've got here, what I could use if I round the corners. That's them all, I think. That one, would that go around a corner? Possibly. Yeah, maybe. Is that the one we just used? Yeah. That's your machine needs looking at if that's what it's doing. The one that we just used, will that go around? Yeah, it will, I think. Or I could show you faux stitching with a pen. Yes. Pause you there while I look for a brown pen. Right, well, this isn't the thinnest of fine liners, but I don't seem to have a huge selection of browns, so it's this one. So I am going to round the corners. and I'm going to use the 1/2 inch size. It's a big card, it can take the 1/2 inch. There we go. So what I'm going to do is draw some lines, which is referred to as faux stitching. So I'm going to start, bear in mind I'm left-handed, you're probably going to be doing this the other way around. So I'm just going to draw some lines of sort of equal length. You can't see them much on that because of the text. And here I'm going around the corner. And here I'm going to go into zigzag. So just zigzag. And then I'm back to straight stitches. And here there's a good bit of plain, needs something done to it, so I'm just going to put zigzag in there and then back to plain to get round the corner. Bit of zigzag. Bit of plain. Bit of zigzag. Bit of plain. A little bit of zigzag. A little bit of plain to get around this corner. Bit of zigzag up here. And then a bit of plain to join on to where we start. So that's it, that's the faux stitching. It could actually have done with being a darker colour, I think. Let's see if I've got a black. There's no point trying to show you how to do something if it doesn't work. Black. Yeah. Oh no, that's not it. Okay, I'll go and look for one. There we go, and I've brought you in closer as well so you can have a fighting chance at seeing what's going on. I'm actually just going to go over these stitches that I've created, but hopefully now you'll be able to see them. And I don't particularly care if it looks like 2 stitches. I think the black will take over. It's a nice thing to do this, I think. I always enjoy doing this. And I like the effect as well. I don't think it's like a sort of poor man's stitching or anything. I really like it. You make yours as neat or scruffy as you like. Mine's kind of somewhere in between. It's better in black, I think. Certainly so as you can see it anyway. There we are, that's it, that's the faux stitching done, and it looks fine, doesn't it? I think. Look good, looks okay to me. So now we need to ink around it, which I could have done before the faux stitching but forgot. just using ink anyway, not oxide. If I was using oxide, it's opaque, so you wouldn't see the stitching through it. So it would be a bit of a waste of time. But this is ink, so it's translucent, so whatever's underneath stitching or whatever, you can see it. Just a little bit on the back. There we have it. There's a, well, I think beautiful collaged and faux stitched and stamped collage. This is the one that I made earlier. You can see I haven't trimmed off the height, I've left it like that, and it's 8 inches, so it's going to be fine, it'll fit in. But this one I did stitch, and I zigzagged all of that and I straight stitched round the edge. They're pretty, aren't they? So where's our foxglove one? Yeah, I'd say that's pretty dry. So I think I'll do that as well, just so as you can see what I do. So I'm just going to zigzag up there, and then across all of that. So join me in a second, I'll have done that. Right, so there we have it. I've zigzagged all of the where everything joins, and that's what it looks like on the back. So I'm now going to stick this onto some card, the same as we did with the last one. Stick it over here because I've somehow managed to get the back of that dirty. Actually, I'll cut it down to size before I stick it onto there. That makes sense, doesn't it? So I want it to measure 5 inches, so 1/2 inch off each side. So I want that 5.5. And now it will measure 5. And then just, I don't really want to take a whisker off there, but I think I'm going to have to. It is literally a whisker. And off the bottom. So there we are. I think we still look nice. Oh, it looks lovely. I love it. Right, let's put the stickers onto here then now. So I hope I've given you some food for thought with faux stitching a couple of ways. I mean, you know, of course, buying stamps is not cheap. This I know. So just consider using a fine liner and it will look stitched. In fact, it'll look very pretty. I like it. First person I ever saw doing it years ago was Pam from the Paper Outpost, and I thought, oh wow, that is just fabulous. And in those days I sewed absolutely everything. So for a while after watching that, I did nothing but faux stitching on everything. Everything was faux stitched. And then gradually, of course, you creep back to what you know. So I was using my sewing machine again. But I think there's room for both, really. I think that looks really nice, that faux stitched one. So let's cut this out. It's not even really dry, so I'm going to have to be quite careful. I mean, it's nothing like dry, I've just stuck it down. A lot of you have been asking me where I live, and I live right in the very north of England, not far at all from Scotland. And actually, I was born in Scotland. I am Scottish, but my accent over the years, I've worked down into southern England, well, Midlands, but south to me. And, you know, you lose your accent, don't you, as you move around, I think, sometimes. So that's that. I need to cut my corners off. Because I'm stitching this, I'm only cutting quarters, because I find it easier to stitch that way. I find I get lost on the big 1/2 inch corners. So I'm going to have to leave that for a minute to dry. In the meantime, I can ink around it though. I mean, you might think this idea is not a good idea. You might think that you would much rather see just one page of a whole foxglove or a whole iris, and that's absolutely fine. I'm just giving you alternatives, and actually I really like it because I've got 2 pages now that's got foxgloves on, not just one, and I'm all for that. And, you know, like I said, I love collage. One other way around this that would be better, I think, is if I made the squares themselves a different size, because 2 inches is too big. You know, you come out at 6 inches. So, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches or something would be better. Well, 1.5 inches would give you 4.5. So no, that's probably not right either. 1.75 inches, maybe something like that. You can mess around at home and get the perfect measurement for your journal. But these I now know would fit into any journal, US or UK or Australia, so we're all right. There we go. Oh, they look lovely. So, is that dry? I'll just give that a sec. I don't want to ruin my machine. Okay, well, I've left it 5 minutes, 5 good minutes. I think it's dry. So what I'm going to do now is just a straight stitch around the edge. You can zigzag on yours. You know, I've given you alternatives today, but I'm just going to straight stitch mine. Lovely. So there we are. Let's just trim those thread ends off. There we go, and still got an end there. And I'm just going to push the stitches back down. And there we are. So there's our foxglove journaling card. There's our iris journaling card with the faux stitching. Nice. And there's an iris journaling card that I did earlier and finished off. So there we have it. We've got 3. We've got still enough things now for one more foxglove, which I shall do now and put it in the basket. So you know what? I think I actually prefer that one. It's really, really lovely. So there's some food for thought for you. Hopefully, I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed this and didn't just think, oh, she's used one of the beautiful images and chopped it up and doesn't look nice. I really like it, so I hope you do too. And I'll see you again very soon. We'll be making even more ephemera from our Edith. Thanks for watching. Bye.